Hey, what's up, y'all? How we doing tonight? Everybody excited about Game of Goats tonight? I am. I'm looking forward to it. That's why I actually have an alarm set so I remember. You'd think I would have these like preloaded questions from folks, but I forgot to ask really, so I don't tonight. So we apparently are going to Sweden, Sweden, yeah, from the Patreon, um, bringing Heavy Cardboard Game Day to you. So that's going to be exciting, right? I mean, Sweden. There's some place I never imagined I would be going ever, really. So that's really really exciting. So the onus is on y'all to ask me questions, or else this becomes just random thoughts by Jack Handy, and nobody wants that. Let me tell you, nobody does. I don't, at least. By the way, so here, random stuff. The condenser on our air conditioner froze today, so it's like 84 degrees in the house right now, plus all the lights. It's warm, so I'll be drinking a lot of water tonight. Yeah. So there, we're gonna have somebody coming out hopefully tomorrow to fix that. It should be defrosted enough to run tonight though, so that's good because it's awfully warm right now. Let me tell you, awfully warm. So I'm actually curious tonight. Two things. One, how many people tune in because normally when we do this, it's usually a weekday and during the workday. And, we'll get 70, 80 folks or so. But with this being a Sunday night and it's right before Game of Goats, I'm curious. But we'll see how the stream goes. The reason I say that is y'all know what happened last week. And so I'm very curious to see if Comcast actually got their stuff together because Founders of Gloomhaven is going off again tomorrow about this time. So that's why we timed it. This is our test run. So you guys are our guinea pigs in a sense. So hello everybody. Vince from China who's now in the US. Matthew, Tony, Randall. Let's see. Right? Seriously, Vince. For someone who doesn't really dig randomness too much, randomly choosing where you go play games was bold. Dude, we were nervous. I mean, it could have been Arkansas, it could have been Minneapolis, it could have been Vietnam, it could have been Australia. Just so happens to be going to Skanderhoovia. I'm super stoked about it. We Space Monkey, the winner, Matthias, he lives in southern Sweden. So we're trying to figure out when would be the best time to go, and we're gonna hook it up. That's going to be it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know if you guys heard or not, but during the weekly look ahead, his neighbor I actually met at Essen last year, and they live literally 50 meters from them and offered us a place to stay when we come up there. So I mean, how cool is that? Seriously, right? So that's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be crazy, surreal. I think is a good way to put it. I think. Did Comcast figure out what it was? So they said there was a kink in the line, and some other stuff that was outside the house. My question though is these issues really started about a week ago, and did that kink actually just start up? I don't think so. So I don't know if he really knew what he was talking about. He was telling the truth, or I don't know. But so far, for the most part, so good. We've had a couple of little blips here and there in the last 36 hours. So we'll see how tonight goes. It'll be interesting, I think. Good morning, Nathan. Welcome. Yeah, seriously, Sweden, dude. I mean, I'm not complaining, I assure you. And we drew live on here. And so we wanted to make sure that it was totally on the up and up and transparent. And the only reason we knew it was Sweden, well, Matthias, first off, but also he had a .se email address, so we assumed. Yeah, pretty cool though, right? Sweden. So we're either going to go, it sounds like, in October or early November, either right before or right after Essen. Probably before would make more sense. Or we're going to do it when we go to Lyricon at the end of end of February, beginning of March time frame. So, I imagine it's going to be cold if we go that time, but it is what it is. So one of those two is when we're going to make it out there. Super, super excited about that, though. Let me tell you. Just curious to see what games we play, and just to, check out Sweden. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. When's the next 18xx playthrough, and which one? That's a good question. What do y'all want it to be? The plan was 1822, but because All Aboard Games is still waiting on their boards to show up, that's kind of been shelved right now, but it is coming. I think that's going to be me, Ash, and Tony, and maybe Amanda. I'm not sure when we do 1822, so that would be one. Honestly, see, 1857 I think would be really interesting to show off, but then again, you can't get it, so I think that would just upset folks because 2.5 hours, boom, game's over. Something to be said for that, and I think that would help market that, but again, folks can't get 1857, so I don't know if that would be nice. It would be following in the what Heavy Cardboard does. We highlight out of print games, so there's that. But yeah, we'll see. Nathan, reckon we could get a picture of the setup you guys have upstairs? Yes, but not yet, Nathan. And the reason is the other side of the studio that you guys don't almost never see. We're actually still in the process of finishing that. Right now, it's just the other pictures, of season 1, season 2 of Heavy Cardboard. That's going to be changing for our in-studio stuff, and we would prefer until that's done before we show some behind-the-scenes stuff. So that will be coming, and that has to be done, actually, before Uli from Spielworks comes and stays at the house before Gen Con. So I know I have to do that at some point between the beginning of August and the second week in August. So I will be painting and mounting stuff and doing all that. So after that, yes, we will be happy to put out some pictures of the studio for sure. Yeah, actually, Vince, that's kind of the idea. The drawing for the patron game day around the world will be around the same time. So right before WBC. Yep. If we hit the next milestone, which is twice a year, then we'll do it every 6 months. That makes sense, right? 1854. We would have to play that. I've never played 1854. We have it downstairs, but haven't gotten it to the table yet. But yeah, I'll mark it down as an option. That's why I brought my notebook with me. Alrighty. Let's see. 1830. I'd rather play 1857, which is 1830-ish, or 1889, which is available, right? And it's a smaller version of 1830. Could we get a happy medium there, Randall? Would that work? Don, do we have a scheduled time for a playthrough of The Roar? Yeah, when Clay gets it to me. He should be getting us a copy here pretty soon, and it should be up before Gen Con as well. So if you want, go harass him and be like, why haven't you gotten a copy to Heavy Cardboard yet? It'll be funny. Yeah, so definitely looking forward to that, plus checking out the Ohio Valley version of it. I think that'll be good. My Lord, is it warm tonight. Woo. So what else is on y'all's mind tonight? What's going on with y'all? Is anybody else excited for a Game of Goats? It's what we call it. It's Game of Thrones. I know. I'm looking forward to it. This will be the first time I've ever watched it at the time it's actually on. Like, normally I binge watch it, wait a couple episodes and then we'll watch it. But Yes, Vince, we did. Thank you very much. We actually are going to be writing you about that. So just didn't want to do something, um, halfway. So I'll be responding to you tomorrow. Thank you. Number two, Hollenspiel and Sierra Madre Games in their catalog are two publishers that I've never heard of, but y'all educated me about. What are the next two small publishers I should know about? Man, I'm terrible at on the spot stuff like this. Um, well, I assume you know about AV Studio Games, which is Albin Viard's, right? Uh, I'm like mentally going through our game library downstairs. Wow. Well, I mean, obviously there's Capstone, which isn't new, but they are new, right? A lot of people still are like, "Who's Capstone?" But I know you know about them. Um, I mean, Splatter's already broken big. I don't know that I have an answer for that yet. Uh, but I'll tell you what, I will do some homework on that, and I will get you an answer of next up and coming publishers. I think that's actually a really good question. I just can't think of it right now. That's a really good question, actually. Up and coming publishers. Next to. That actually gave me an idea for a great top six, right? Top six publishers you probably don't know about but should. What do you think of that idea? Now, if you're a fan of Heavy Cardboard, you probably know them, but like Hollenspiel and Sierra Madre, because I figure these companies aren't going to be in the mainstream really too much, and I think that's a pretty good idea. What do y'all think? I think it's a good idea, but not all my ideas are actually good, even though I might think they're good. You're welcome, Jacob. See, I don't see that. I don't see that as a negative, right? Oh, okay. It sucks that you might not have anybody to play with. Easy solution. Fly to Denver. We'll play with you. Um, but zero interest in it. We didn't sell you on it. We simply presented the game. Okay, maybe the review did. All right. I was gonna say the playthrough. We just showed it, and all right, maybe a little bit, but you get the point. Are you really upset? I mean, really deep down inside, or are you just upset that you don't have anybody to play it with? I think that might be actually the real truth behind your angst, Jacob. I know you're kidding. I'm just kidding back. Matthew, that's a good question. So, and this actually leads to a bigger question of pre-scripting our games. So, Matthew says for tomorrow's uh, Founders of Glory, really? Founders of Gloomhaven playthrough, are you guys going to aim for a different type of game where all the resources aren't so quickly interconnected? The answer is yes and no, and here's why I say that. The answer yes, because we as players want the game to be different. We want to see what else the game has to explore. Now, I've played it. Amanda and I have played it more than the other two, but they're going to want to see that. I know that. So by default, they're going to intentionally, start out in a different area than where we all were at the beginning. And the bigger point to this is we don't ever script our games. Like, we don't ever say, okay, Matt, you're going to go for this strategy. Ash, you're going to go for this strategy. And so, you're going to go for this. We don't ever do that. We just sit down. I teach the game, or one of us teaches the game, and we play how we play. So it's never pre-set up like that. Like, the deck is never stacked. It is never anything like that. And the reason we do that, or don't do that, as it were, is because we want it to be authentic. We want it to be like y'all are here playing with us, just like. And scripting isn't our bag. That's not our shtick. That's not what we aim to do, and so we don't do it like that. So, by default, the game is going to play out differently intentionally because I know the guys are going to want to see that. But it's not like going into the game with determined, yeah, we're all going to, do all this so it shows differently this time. I think by default, also, it would show differently because the guys will have a game under their belt and they'll be like, yeah, at the end of the first playthrough, you guys heard their thoughts, and then now it's going to be a completely different game. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so far, it looks like the stream's holding up fine. So yay. All right, great idea for the top 6. Cool. Good deal. There's 2 of y'all, so we'll run with it. Actually, what you guys, and here's one that we didn't promote yet, but the following week, the week during, while we're at WBC, we are going to pre-record the top 6 top 6 2-player school night games. So we thought that'd be a cool idea, and that'll be releasing Tuesday or Wednesday of the week we're at WBC, so in 2 weeks. So there's a little nugget for you guys to look forward to, or not, depending on, what's your cup of tea. Like Jacob, for instance, he's probably not looking forward to that because he's got nobody to play with, right? Lesser known, deserving highlighting. Sometimes hard to get info on without the hype train rolling. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, that's kind of the premise on what Heavy Cardboard was built on, right? Sure, there's some games that we're going to be just one of. Terraforming Mars, an example. I mean, everybody and their mother was reviewing that or doing videos or whatever, but not a whole lot of Pax Ren out there. Not a lot of 1846 out there, which that I want to highlight these. I want to help promote quality companies and, more importantly, quality people. Because let's face it, this hobby is all about people. I mean, whether it's the people you're playing with or the people, the designers, the publishers, whatever, it's totally a people business. So I want to shine a light on those that deserve it. And, Hollandspiele, I think, is a perfect example of that. Good people and pretty killer games. Let's see, Randall B. Sure, it'd be a good compromise, but which is more readily available to the masses for a cheaper price? Why should that dictate, Randall? Is my job supposed to be like, oh, well, this one's only $40, this one's $110, we'll go for the 40? Nah, that's never the premise. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Don't get me. 1830 is the game that people, probably hear about first. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best entry-level game, right? So why not? We did 1846, so why not 1889 or 1857, which is the other ones that we promote? Well, I don't promote 57 because it's impossible to get, but 1889, right? It's more easily bought into, even though it might not be the most financially easy to get into. That makes sense? Let's see. Hathlin? Is that how you say that name? Hathlin? Hello, first time. Hi, Hathlin. I've always loved board games, but just recently got into the online board game people. Great to find you. I'll be around for more to come. Awesome. Welcome aboard. Happy to have you in the herd, man. Very cool. Nathan, yourself and Amanda make an awesome team and do a fantastic job presenting interesting content for all of us. How did the two of us meet? Oh, boy. The second worst place you can meet your wife. First, strip club, right? By default. That would, don't ever date a woman that pays her rent in singles. So it wasn't there. So there's that. Number 2 was at a club. All right. So, God, I can't believe I'm really going to put this out here. Really? Really? Should I? Yeah, what the hell? It's Ask the Elephant. All right. So one night, it's a Friday night. It was November 12th, 2004. Yes, November 12th, 2004. We actually celebrate the day we met more so than our wedding anniversary. Anyway, it was Friday night. Buddy of mine, hey, let's go out to Graham's. If you guys are familiar with Graham's, it's like a just cheesy, terrible club. It's got like 4 or 5 different clubs in there in one club with different DJs, different music, whatever. So we were out there. Me and my buddy, Amanda and her girlfriend were out there. Didn't know each other at the time, obviously, because then it wouldn't be how we met. And she was out there dancing, and in my mind's eye, I see her out there on the dance floor, like the dance floor is empty. In my mind's eye, it's completely empty. And there's just like one light shining down on her, and I was just like slack-jawed, just. So I did what any self-respecting, liquid courage-infused Marine would do and went out there and danced with her. And she's going to roast me for telling this, but so I had a fair bit of liquid courage in my system at the time, and we were dancing, whatever, and she was receptive to it, I guess, but she kept looking down. She was dancing like this, just, looking down at the floor. So it made sense at the time, and don't ask me why I did it. She had long blonde hair then, and so I just reached the back of her head and pulled her hair and pulled her head up. Here we are. Like, I look back on it now and I was like, really? You did that? Really? And so, yeah, here we are. So, yeah. Anyway, so there you go. That's first time I think anyone's actually asked that on the show. So hopefully Amanda's not watching. So, yeah. Although she's going to hear it because this is going to release for the podcast, right? Yeah, that's funny. Hey, Clay. I thought I'd show off. Well, see, and it's not, I'll be honest, Clay, I love you. It's a soft shirt. It's close to like ours. I appreciate that. But this is my way of showing off that I went from a 2XL to a large. This is a large shirt. I feel like it fits okay. Do you know how cool that is? That I'm down 50 pounds, have maintained it now for 7 months, and have gone down 2 shirt sizes. Feels pretty good, let me tell you. Plus, try and rep our friends. So, let's see. I am behind. Let's see. What other heavy games are you most looking forward to releasing? Honestly, Tony, I need to get back to the anticipation geek list that I have on BGG. I keep threatening to do that. I will make a commitment to everybody watching this or listening to this that before we go to WBC, I will update that geek list. That is one entire day's work, but I will do that. I will answer it then, because I feel like I am a solid 2 months behind for, oh, wow, that's coming out, that type stuff. So I don't know. I know Stellar Horizon, that wasn't me catering to Andrew Rader when I did the interview with him yesterday. I legitimately am super stoked. 1,600 counters, little intimidated. Didn't realize that. I'll be honest. It's a monster build a space program game, which is fascinating to me. So that's one of, but realistically, that's going to be 2018. The other one that's probably almost assuredly 2018 is Mr. President from GMT, a solo game that Amanda and I can team up with to play as a two-headed president. Cannot wait for that game. So those are the big ones. I'm really excited to see the second edition of Wildcatters. Clay and I played it with Andre and Rolf at Essen last year, and I've had to keep my mouth quiet about it until I was given the okay to talk about it. So really looking forward to people getting into that. Speaking of which, Rolf is going to be here in Denver right after we get back from WBC. So my goal is to be able to sit down and do something live with Rolf, because how often am I going to have the Danish guy here at HCHQ? So looking forward to that. There's a number of other games that I'm not going to be able to think of off the top of my head. So before I leave for WBC, I will have the Anticipation Geek list updated. And on that note, I will have Amanda link it in the show notes, down at the bottom of the video, or in the for the podcast. So I promise you that. Okay. Dean asks, do you think HC will have an advanced look at John Company? Well, I mean, I was told we would, so I think so. I mean, designer's kind of a friend of the show, so yeah, I do think so. And I have a number of folks here in town that really do enjoy that game, so it shouldn't be hard to get it up to speed to be able to both live stream it as well as review it. The downside to the live stream part is the guy who really is the biggest proponent of the game is not super keen about being on camera, which we totally respect, and I don't want to force anybody who doesn't want to be on a live stream to be on it. That's just kind of a bummer in that one case. So yeah, if Cole gets us a copy, he said he was talking to Phil about that, and hopefully we should have a copy sooner rather than later. So that'll be cool. There you go, Jacob. 2 players is great. You can solo. Awesome. There you go. See, that's the right way to think about it. Jeff asks, what will the next Age of Steam map you play be? Depends on player count, but what would you guys like to see? And when, he asks. How about we play 2 of them in August? I think that's a reasonable expectation, maybe a third. One of which will probably be Montreal Metro from Albin. You notice there's only a handful of really great designers. There's a lot of print and play. I mean, yeah, I would like to get Montreal Metro. And, you know, actually, I wouldn't mind trying to find one that is a bit more under the radar to see if we can have the same kind of response that we had for the Zombie Apocalypse one, that the designer said, hey, due to the increased interest with our playthrough, or with Heavy Cardboard's playthrough, him saying this here, we're going to release it as a print and play. Awesome. I mean, that's fantastic. So my question to you, Jeff, and I will get to this here in a little bit, is what map do you want us to play? Have we played Talisman? If so, what did we think? Halflin, have not. I had a copy early on in the hobby, and we got rid of it. Not terribly interested in it with the style of game that it is. That said, if somebody came to game day, or I guess not really springing it on us, because that's not the way our game days work. We try and plan them out. But if somebody said, hey, I got a copy of Talisman, how would you guys be down for trying it? Yes. The answer is yes, I would try it. But I'm not going to actively seek out a copy to try on my own. That makes sense? Of course I remember the day we met, Nathan. Come on now. Now, the day we got married, we both struggle on remembering what day that is. Like I said, we celebrate the day we met as more so than our wedding date. And the funny thing is when we were leaving Vegas, we knew we were moving, and we were just engaged at that point. And Amanda was like, you want to just go ahead and get married before we leave Vegas and just get it over and done with? Because as she likes to say, I want a marriage, not a wedding. And so I was like, yeah, we'll hook it up. So we went to the Little White Wedding Chapel with about, I don't know, less than a week's notice. We brought the important people in our lives at that time to the wedding. There were like 8 attendees. And my buddy Jody, who just busted, unfortunately, but made a deep run into the main event. And WSOP finished somewhere in the mid 200s out of 7,200 entries. Did real good. So awesome. Good job, Jody. Not that you're watching, but awesome. Another run. He finished 52nd back in 2011, which was pretty awesome as well. He's the one former poker professional that I'm still good friends with. It's one of my best friends, so it's good to see him doing well. But he surprised us showing up, as did a couple other folks. But yeah, there was only about 8 folks, and then we decided, yeah, let's do this. So we got married, and then we moved to Denver, and here we are. Clay says we will have the Ruhr by the end of July. Well, there you go. There's that answer. Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Clay. It's about time. Dan says, hello, all. Hello, Dan, and thank you for the bump in patronage today. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, and you guys are talking about pre-orders for that. Let's see. Yes, looking forward to Mr. President. That's what I'm talking about, Don. Okay, cool. Games are on the boat. Well, you didn't fly any over, Clay? Come on now. I'm just messing. Just messing. Yeah, Gen Con. I wasn't expecting to go to Gen Con. It was the first con that that got cut this year because I fully expected to be gainfully employed full time still. I wasn't planning on quitting my job until they forced my hand a bit. So I have more time to travel to cons. I asked my boss and I said it was okay. And actually got the press pass and Clay's hooking us up. So looking forward. So if you want to come hang out, stop by the Capstone Games booth. I will be there. Not working the booth, but I will be there to meet y'all. And hopefully, I was told, have the Davis promo for Lisboa. Cannot wait. That is so exciting for us. Very, very exciting. Jacob says your interview made me break out Nations for the first time. Why, Jacob? Why? You don't need to play Nations ever. Tuesday, we will show you the best of that type of Civ game, or the best game. Period. Right here through the ages. Cannot wait. Really looking forward, and it's a nice welcome back, or at least a temporary welcome back for Sweater Mike. He's back for this week and next week, and then we're gone next week. But at least we get to hang out on Tuesday. Really looking forward to doing that. In fact, I think he's out there eating dinner right now. He might be joining us for Game of Goats later, so that'll be cool. $504 Halflin asks, you would think that is the epitome of a game that is themeless, right? And if it has good mechanisms, cool. But haven't played it. Let me preface that. The reason I haven't played it is, and this is let me rephrase that. The reason I haven't sought out a copy of 504 is, as I've said, theme doesn't matter as far as my enjoyment of a game, as long as the mechanisms are good. Well, I also say that there has to be some sort of rough edge. There has to be some sort of character to the game. And 504 feels like, to me, in my research of the game, that it's better in concept than in actual function. And what I mean by that is I just don't want to play, a mechanic on a mechanic and that's that. It's either going to play, it's just, what new is it bringing? And if it's not doing things better than what other games have done before it, i.e. Lorenzo Il Magnifico, which is why I don't enjoy that game in the least, why waste my time with it? And so that's why 504 just doesn't interest me at all. If you're interested in getting our likes and dislikes, honestly, listen to our top 50. Go back to that podcast and check that out. We're actually due for a new one here soon, I think. So might look for that in September. That'd be cool. (1890s) Pennsylvania, Jeff, for a Age of Steam map. I think that would be cool. Yeah, we own it. We can bust that out. So how about we do Montreal Metro and 1890s Pennsylvania for sure in August. I'll write that down. All right, it's written. Let's see. Jacob asks, heading back in time through your podcast. Ooh, it only gets worse. It only gets rougher, the audio quality. So I apologize ahead of time, all right? Got to your discussion with Tony about Bausac, or Bandu is the American version. Have we played Junkart? I haven't, because we have Bausac. Cardboard Congregation asks, to get back to Age of Steam maps, you've done the moon. Why not the sun next? That's a fair question. That's we have it, so why not? And that's our boy Clear Claws. One. And the sun. There we go. All right, cool. What do I hate about Lorenzo? I didn't say I hated it. I said I strongly disliked it. There is nothing spectacular about the game. That is milquetoast at the epitome. The theme it's themeless, right? But whatever. But as far as the mechanisms, what does it do better than what other games do? And I would say nothing. And we actually were going to review it on the show, and we actually got a bunch of pushback from maybe not doing games that we truly dislike. Maybe games where there's disagreement on, yeah, and so we were like, eh. And the other problem was, do I really want to play this game another 4 or 5 times? Do I really want to? Let's put it this way. When Matt and I were learning the game, he and I were just going to play a little bit of it and then 2-player, and then we played, and we're like, yeah, might as well finish it. And we were like, are we missing something? Then we played it 3-player. We were like, nope, no, we're not. No, thanks. And I got rid of it at HeavyCon. Just zero interest in that game because it does nothing better than what any other game out there does for the mechanisms that are within that game. Just zero interest. Oh, wow, Zachary, that's a good score. It says, just found a copy of Sun in London and Soul Train at my local game store. Score you. Enjoy that. Nice. Hey, Murr. Just got done playing our first game of Lignum. Thanks, Clay, for bringing it in. Thanks for Heavy Cardboard people for helping me learn how to play it. If Tally Boards is for a Glory to Rome playthrough, +1 for me. Not exactly. The board that y'all see up here is, because we try and keep things PC-ish on the live streams, that is our way of whenever one of us feels the need to tell each other to go fornicate with themselves, we just say Glory to Rome. We are going to start doing a once in a while Heavy Cardboard After Dark type whatever. I don't know the exact name, but a less PC playthrough, but we're going to limit that to only patrons for the simple fact that, I don't know, hearing as colorful as we can get might not be the best thing for everyone to see. So we're going to limit that to patrons only and go from there. We'll see what people think about it and whether or not we continue it, but we're going to probably do that sometime early in August, I think, the first one of those. So that's what the Glory to Rome board is for, sir. And as far as Lignum, yeah, we highlighted that game when it first came out. I mean, it was a finalist for Golden Elephant Award, and shoot, was that 2014? I think it was 14, wasn't it? So yeah, I mean, I'm glad Clay made a second edition of it, or reprint, whatever you want to call it. I think there's enough changes to call it a second edition. So yeah, definitely glad that more people get to enjoy that, for sure. David says there's an old Age of Steam map, the Golden Spike. Amazing. That might be one we don't have. I will have to go look. Now I'm writing that down to check that out. Zachary asks, hey, Edward, do you know if GMT is planning on printing another 18XX? The answer is yep, I do know. And yep, the answer is yes. However, the answer is no, I don't know what their next one is. They did say that they're going to touch base with us, let us know so we can do another playthrough of whatever it is, but we haven't heard lately or recently. Haven't heard in a couple of months, actually, if anything's changed. At that time, a couple months ago, they did not have an answer. They didn't know what that was going to be. So are they actively trying to figure that out? Yes. Have they figured it out? At least up until a couple months ago, the answer is no. Okay. Like, I knew about 1846 a year, 14, 15 months before it got announced. I just wasn't allowed to say anything. That was rough. Whoo. Yeah. That was hard to keep that one in, but succeeded, so that's good. How many minutes from learning you're going to Sweden did it take for Amanda to start planning the trip? Well, actually, I was the one, Space Monkey, Matthias, the winner, he actually, I sent him an email, and he actually heard on Slack first that he had won. And he's like, dude, this is so cool. And he told us the name of his town, and I forget it. And he's like, good luck trying to pronounce it. So the first thing I did was put it into Google and, pronunciation and practice it a couple times, then promptly forgot, obviously. And then I started thinking, okay, how do we get to this smaller city in Sweden? And so, yeah, it's kind of my brain that actually started planning that much quicker than Amanda's. But we're both super excited about it. It's surreal. It still hasn't sunk in that, yo, dog, we're going to Sweden, right? I mean, crazy. Nice. Murr says, okay, Heavy Cardboard After Dark just made me sign up for Patreon. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I guess we're at 287 now. Thanks, Murr. Oh, okay. Yeah. Halflin asks, what's the 286 behind you there? All right. So this 286 is what we call our 138 box. And the reason we call it that, this is how many patrons, how many Patreon supporters we have, just supporting the show. The reason we call it 138 is when we moved the studio up here and we built this studio, we had 138 patrons at the time. So we thought, hey, this is all because or made possible, and stuff like this that we're doing tonight with the Ask the Elephant. This was all made possible because of our patrons supporting the show. And so we were like, this is kind of our way of giving them a shout out in every live stream that we do. And so, yeah, that's kind of our thing. Our way of saying thank you to the world, or I guess explaining or saying, really? Good thing I don't talk for a living nowadays. It's our way of telling the world thank you for our patrons. Does that make sense? I think. So patreon.com/heavy cardboard. I mean, I didn't plan on talking about that now, but hey, Halflin, the check's in the mail. Thank you. And you're new to the show. So I quit my job a little while ago because my job was killing me. And before I went to go take another job, Amanda said, you know what? We got enough socked away money-wise. Why don't you try and make a run at doing this full time? And so that's what I've been doing. And that's what these people are trying to help with. So yeah, and all this stuff that you see, or don't see, the lights, the cameras, and everything else, the microphones and all this stuff, and our playthroughs are literally all made possible because of our patrons. They like the content, they like the quality of the content that we're doing, and they want to support it. So if you feel the same, awesome, thank you. And if you don't want to support us that way, that's okay too. Spread the word. Honestly, that's almost as good. The more people that check out the show, the better, whether it's the podcast or the live stream. So thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Okay. Randall says the other side of the board is to the Golden Spike is Mississippi steamboats. Oh, in that case, we do have it. That's right. We do. So I will check that one out. Thanks, Randall. Jacob says, congrats on a milestone, by the way. Wish it were me. What he's talking about is we hit $1,700 in support for our patrons. This is back when I had a job, and the Patreon was above and beyond just for the show, that we said, hey, once a year when we hit 1,700, we're going to draw a name at random for everybody that supports the show at $5 or more. We're going to draw a name, and we're going to bring Heavy Cardboard Game Day to them for a Saturday, wherever they are in the world, Vietnam, Arkansas, Minnesota, or, Sweden. And Matthias got his number drawn today, and so we're going to Sweden. So that's how that worked. That's it's pretty cool, right? I mean, I'm excited, and Amanda's excited about going to Sweden, but it's more the concept of what this represents that's even cooler to me, right? Because, dude, there are enough people out there that care enough and are interested in enough that, hey, let's Let's go have some fun wherever you are. Let's bring us to you, or this whole show. Well, not the lights and stuff, but you get the idea, right? Yeah, seriously. Tony says maybe Comcast should have a Patreon for better service. Dude, you have no idea. So I think I handled it pretty well on camera. For those that don't know, we did our biggest live stream in the history of the show last week, Founders of Gloomhaven, and Comcast dropped the ball, and our internet went down and didn't come back. And so we had to cancel it. We had 180 folks or so watching live, and do you know how embarrassing that was for somebody who's trying to be professional? Yeah, that was a rough night. But the good news is they sent somebody out. They said they fixed it. This was our kind of test for it today, and so far so good. Knock on wood. And we're going to do it again tomorrow at 18:30. So 6:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. That's 12:30 UTC time at night. Hopefully you all join us. We're not going to do the teach. What we're going to do is we're going to do a teach as we go. Like, hey, welcome to Heavy Cardboard. We're going to play. All right, we start playing and just talk through our moves like we normally do. And I think people will be able to pick up enough, especially if they want a particular rules teach. We did that last week, and that was actually still good. So can go check that out. And if they don't, then hey, let's just play the game. So that's what's going on with that. So yeah, thanks Comcast. Yeah, I don't know that I would say triple X cool there, Christopher. That might give the wrong impression. I would say, 18XX cool. How's that? Have we played First Class? Sadly, Casey, we have not. It's still downstairs and have not gotten to it. I've heard it's Russian Railroads, the card game, and I really, well, not really the card game, but you get the idea. I really actually want to, but it's one of those games to where it's one of those that we still have yet to cover. I mean, let's face it. When I interviewed Scott Alden from BGG, he was like, the top 1,000 BGG games are all good games, right? He said, hell, maybe even the top 2,000 are all good games. So if you think about that, we've done, 55, 57, thereabouts, live streams. And a couple of those games we've done multiple times. And if you want to make the argument that there's probably, we have 800 and change games downstairs, in all of which we think are pretty good games. We have a lot of time to be able to get to all these games. We have a lot of years ahead of us. There's only so many hours in a day. So moral of the story is, we'll get to it. I promise. It's one of those games I'm legitimately excited to try. We just haven't gotten to it yet. But, I want to get Demacher, and that game's 30 years old. Container we're going to be getting to, especially around the Kickstarter time. I'm excited for that. So what I'm trying to say, though, is there are a ton of games that we haven't gotten to yet that all in due time, I promise. My question for you, Casey, is I assume you've played it, and if you have, what did you think about it? Thanks for saying that, Jacob. Yeah, so the Founders of Gloomhaven playthrough. After the live stream dropped, we were like, well, we can record it locally and just play as if it were still going on. And we did, except we kept looking over at the screen expecting there to be chat because we're used to it, and there wasn't. We caught ourselves a few times. Other than that, though, I thought it played out pretty well. And the roundtable discussion that we had at the end, I think is the best discussion in this hobby. Post-game discussion, I think what we do at the end of all of our live streams, I think is pretty top-notch, high-quality stuff. So if nothing else, if you want to watch Founders live with us tomorrow night, then I would say check that out, but maybe go watch the roundtable discussion at the end of the first live stream to kind of whet your appetite and get you fired up for the game. I think that'd be pretty cool. I appreciate that. Jacob said, amazing you could bring it back together given the emotion and disruption. Trying to be a professional, right? Just off camera and afterwards, I was pretty crushed. That hurt. That was rough for sure. But a lot of our patrons were telling us, hey, it's out of our control, which is true. It did get us looking at backup internet, though. I will tell you that. That said, as long as it doesn't happen too regularly, then, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So cool. Hopefully we have a big crowd tomorrow. And Isaac was totally understanding about it. And he was actually really cool about it. So he's going to probably mention it about tomorrow, and let's move on, right? Onward and upward. Hathlin asks, how often do you live stream? Glad I caught this one. Often. For games, we try and do anywhere between 2 and 4 a week. Obviously, the next couple weeks is going to be less because we're going to be getting ready to go to WBC or at WBC, which is World Board Game Championships. But we have Founders tomorrow. We have Through the Ages on Tuesday morning. We may do one other surprise something, but I think that's all that's planned for this week. And we have some pre-recorded stuff that's going to be up the following week. And then after that, we'll probably get back into the swing of things, doing anywhere from 2 to 4 a week. Maybe as many as 5. All depends on the week. So, yeah. What heavy games play well at 5+ player counts? Ideally not 4-hour slogs. Well, hold on. Which is it? Heavy game? No, I'm kidding. Dominant Species, first that comes to mind. And that's at 5+, so 5 and 6. At 5, Democker is, well, that's not a 4-hour slog. That's a 5-hour amazement game. That's fantastic. And people that don't like the opinion cards, think of it as insurance. Get over yourselves, right? Democker, I promise it will come this year. Okay. Yeah, Food Chain is another great one. Great Zimbabwe. Tony, you're hired. Thank you for answering that. Tramways, Indonesia. Yeah, good call. Casey, to double back onto the question about First Class, he says, great filler, 15 minutes per player, slow at the start, but then combos for days. So if you like the combos in Castles of Burgundy, you're going to like First Class. Sign me up, dude. We might have to bust that out for a 2-player live stream. All right. Wow. I caught up. And look at that. We still got a couple minutes. So anything left before we all go check out Game of Goats? Seriously, nobody answered me. Is anybody else excited for Game of Thrones? I am. And then after that, I get to go play with the AC and hopefully turn it back on once it's defrosted. Yeah, exactly, Jacob. He's like, yeah, this year is good enough. Last video I saw for Democker was Scott Nicholson's from 2007. Trust me, there's nobody else crazy enough to live stream, or hold on, to do a playthrough of Democker. And we're going to do it live, dude. I cannot wait. I mean, it's a fantastic game. I almost never win, but it's a fantastic game. What do we think of those one-off games like the Escape Room and Pandemic games? Never played Pandemic. Haven't played Escape the Room. What we have played is Exit. I really dig those. Price point, I want to say, is $10 to $15, right? For an hour's entertainment, for, assuming you have a group of 3 or 4, for $10 to $15 as a one-off. Yeah, we loved it. We were terrible at it and felt like just total idiots after we got done playing it. And by we, I mean we had a 3-team tournament at HeavyCon this year, and our team finished dead last by a long way. So the game's really good at making you feel stupid, but that's kind of what these exit rooms are about, right? And making you think about things the way you don't normally do. So I was a really big fan of that. Really enjoyed that. Heavy Cardboard never did High Frontier or Colonization. Yes, it's coming, Christopher. I promise. The original plan was to do it July 16th, which is... Oh, today. Anniversary of the moon landing. We originally were going to do it today, but plans didn't work out. So this year also. So Democker and High Frontier coming this year, I promise. And only some of Colonization. How's that? All right. Yeah, we don't have cable TV either, Jacob, but, you know, Apple TV, which Matt has. We're going to be streaming it downstairs. Can't wait. No. Hold on, DeBoomer. I'm going to take issue with this. Game of Thrones, best TV show ever. Second best is I, Claudius. I can't speak to I, Claudius. But far and away, the number one greatest TV show ever. It's The Wire. Not even, this is not up for debate. This is not up for discussion. The Wire. The end. That is insane. So Murr, what he's talking about there, he has 30 days, August 15th until day 1000 of the Endless Game Day. Murr was my inspiration, partially, for trying to do Endless Game Day, which ended at like day 150 for us or so. He's going on day 1000 of consecutive days of playing a board game. That is amazing. That is totally remarkable. Truly remarkable. So congratulations, Murr. Wow. Netflix. There you go. Not a bad idea there. Yeah, I hope Game of Thrones ends how we all want it to end. I don't know how that is. I just want it to be high quality, whatever the ending ends up, right? And isn't just, oh, we got to tie this together here. Let's, and leave you so unfulfilled. I hope not. So, all right. 6:57. That gives me 2.5 minutes to shut everything down here and go join everybody down on the couch with popcorn. So enjoy Game of Thrones tonight, and hopefully enjoy Founders of Gloomhaven tomorrow. Come join us. See? That's my alarm to say, hey, good night to y'all. So Founders of Gloomhaven tomorrow at 18:30 hours Mountain Daylight Time. Spread the word for us. Help us let folks know that we're going to be live streaming it. It's a game that a lot of people are going to like, I think, are really going to enjoy. So, awesome. Cool. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Hopefully, everybody had fun with this. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Cool? All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy Game of Thrones. Later.